Greeting, resilient souls, and welcome to our very first episode on the Pain2Purpose podcast, where we navigate the tough journey of healing from trauma. I'm your host, Pain PT Berg, and today we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: the profound exploration of turning pain into purpose. But before we dive deep, let me ask you, have you ever felt the weight of past traumas, wondering if genuine healing is possible? If so, you're not alone, and this podcast is a safe space for those conversations. So grab your favorite comfort drink, settle in, and let's embark on this transformative journey together. Let's talk about the truth of trauma and overcoming it, because we all know that there's not a blueprint for that. And we find ourselves a lot of times asking, are we within reach of healing? Is that even possible for us that have gone through trauma and addressing our toxic traits of the things that have happened to us, but how we're continuing to use that to hurt other people? Because the saying is true: hurt people hurt people. And I've been there myself, where I've hurt people in my life that I shouldn't have, because I was hurting and maybe they were doing well or doing something that I wish I was doing. And so I took out my frustration of not believing in myself towards those individuals, or I ended up cutting them out of my life. And it's not a good feeling, because as you navigate your healing journey, there's no one here to tell us how we're supposed to navigate our life, how we're supposed to overcome these things. There's not a book that says, hey, if you're going back to toxic relationships, go to chapter 3 and the second paragraph, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. That's just not it. And so as I started praying over this podcast, this was just a month ago. Although I've been thinking about doing a podcast for the last 8 years, it wasn't until a little over a month ago, while I had downtime, that I realized this is the plan that God wanted for me. And I wake up every morning, I listen to YouTube, I listen to either, a sermon from Pastor Stephen Furtick, or I listen to some type of motivational speech to just kind of start my day, to make my day feel a little better, a little lighter. And I don't know if anyone else does that, but it helps me. It helps me within the first 15 minutes. I'm not going on social media. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just giving my time to God and to myself to decompress from waking up and starting my day successfully. And so, as I was praying about this at the end of November, early December of 2023, I decided I'm just going to order all my stuff, because I've done it before, where 2 years ago I ordered all of my podcast stuff and was like, no one's going to listen to me. Like, why am I doing this? And I decided I'm going to do it. And whether people listen to it or not, it's for me. It's for other people who are going through exactly what I'm going through. And I want to be able to be that voice of comfort for someone when they're going through these things, because life doesn't end when trauma ends. And I think for myself, I felt like my life ended when the trauma continued. Like, I was just in this bad nightmare of over and again, I'm just going through these same things. I'm going back to toxic relationships. I'm allowing all of these people to continue to step on me like I'm just this doormat. I was too kind. I was too giving. I was too forgiving. And 2023 was a turning point for me. I found myself facing the most broken version of myself, realizing that significant healing was necessary for my own personal growth. And it meant letting go of people, places, memories, and things. And it's not that we're going to forget those things, but forgiving it to release us of emotional attachments to those people, places, memories, and things. And I'm not going to lie, loneliness set in for me, especially because my husband traveled a lot. He started his career, and so it took him away for a month at a time. This last time he's been gone for 3 months. He'll be coming home, but he'll be gone again. That's part of his job. And that's when I found solace in God, because me and God had this relationship where I did not care for God for a long time. There was a lot of things that were taken away from me, that happened to me, that I just couldn't understand, and my relationship with God was not the best. But 2023, I knew that I had to lean on God. I needed to lean on Him to be able to become the best version of what He wanted for me, my purpose. And so, as I started rebuilding my relationship with God, I uncovered toxic traits within me, and it prompted me for deep self reflection. And I was listening to Pastor Stephen Furtick one day after I prayed about this podcast, and he had this powerful message on giving your pain a purpose. And I knew it was time to share my story. And I text my best friend and I was like, this is the name that I want. And she loved it. So it was just like, okay, this is confirmation. And so that is how Pain2Purpose was born. And I just want to say that this platform is a safe space to talk about tough stuff, from child sexual abuse and human trafficking to suicide attempts and surviving gang violence. Like, each episode of my life and my journey, we're going to peel back layers of it that involved seeking forgiveness from my family and gaining new meaningful connections and learning how to overcome that trauma for myself. And I wanted to be able to also create a platform where people can come and share their stories. That was important for me, because you guys can hear about my story all day long. You guys might even get tired of it. But each story that is going to be brought onto this platform is very unique. And some of these people that I'm interviewing, I know them personally. And as we go through these interviews, I'm realizing that there was a lot of things that I didn't know about these individuals, that we were friends or acquaintances for all of these years. And we all go through things and we don't know because we don't talk about it. It's not talked about. It's not addressed. It's almost like taboo in today's society to talk about trauma and mental health. And people still think that you're crazy for going to see a therapist, and you're not. You should go see a therapist. My therapist has a therapist, and it helps us to be able to talk to someone who's not close to us, who can give us an unbiased opinion of what we're going through, but also help us grow. And, the guests that I've interviewed, they've gone through therapy. Some of them have gone through therapy and have found it tremendously helpful. And so I found myself going through therapy, which will be talked about in another episode. So as we jump off with our first episode in the queue, I want you to know that you're not alone in your struggles. I questioned my identity, lost myself in people pleasing tendencies fueled by my trauma. But my story doesn't end there. It's a narrative of healing and finding peace within myself, a journey marked by severing relationships and setting boundaries. And it's okay for you to set boundaries, because you start realizing who was really there for you and who was there for you when it benefited them. And so this quote that I hear by Maya Angelou has always resonated with me when it came to this. And I had to remind myself of this when I was going through my healing journey is that you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. That's the essence of our journey here, turning pain into purpose, viewing struggles as the foundation for the great life that awaits us, and trusting in God. Because we tend to think that we can do things ourselves. And even though God is saying, hey, you need to go this way, you're over here like, no, I need to go this way. And God is like, no, you just need to listen. You need to be patient. And Proverbs teaches us how to be individuals. It's the book of wisdom. And correct me if I'm wrong. You can leave your comments. I'm not a Bible guru. I'm just starting my relationship with God over. So if I say anything that is incorrect, I am open for what you have to say. But Proverbs has gotten me through a lot of my hard days. And so, as you join me in these episodes, expect raw honesty about the hurt, trials, and ultimately how I overcame them. This is Pain to Purpose, where we break the silence and amplify voices because your pain has a purpose. And I want you to honestly believe that. And your voice matters. And you sharing your story can be a survival guide for other people. So I hope that you stick around as we navigate this ride together, emotional ride together, where pain is not the end, but the beginning of a remarkable journey towards a purpose. And I just want to thank you guys. I hope to see you guys again. And I pray that everyone has a blessed week. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Pain to Purpose. Your time and presence mean the world to us. If today's discussion resonated with you, or if you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media at Pain2Purpose the podcast, or drop us an email at pain2purpose thepodcast@outlook.com. Remember, your pain has a profound purpose, and by sharing your stories, we break the silence and amplify voices. Until next time, stay resilient, stay hopeful, and embrace the journey from pain to purpose. This is Painia P.T. Berg, your host, signing off. Take care, resilient souls.